Yeah. Did I make this? I made the presentation myself. I did not make this dancing man. He was available. His services are free on Canva if you have a paid subscription. Thank you. I mean, I always feel happy and better when I'm with you guys already. Oh, God damn it. My fan. My automatic fan. I gotta turn that shit off. Give me 1 sec. I did. Give me a second. Sorry, I forgot that thing turns on and off automatically. Ooh, I did. I said hi to everybody. Yeah, Blue Dancing Man, your family misses you. No, he's got important work to do. But today, that's right, we're bringing it back. We're going to be talking about some of the craziest cybersecurity stories of 2024, you guys. And I made this whole presentation for you guys. Some of it is stuff that I have not talked about on stream before. Some of it is stuff I have to talk about on stream before. I tried to not make it too repetitive, and I tried to have one story for each month of 2024. However, some of the months end up having 2 stories. I think I have a total of like 13 or 14. But yeah, I hope you guys are excited to learn about all of the crazy stuff that happened this year. Also, I purposely left out CrowdStrike because like everybody knows about that. Yeah. If you want to talk about CrowdStrike, we can talk about CrowdStrike, but I left that one out. Anyways, all right, let's get going with the first story. Yes. The first story was, oh no, I just realized I'm covering some of my own PowerPoint. Fuck me. All right, give me a second. I think Dr. Fish is going to have to sit this one out. I think Dr. Fish is going to have to, unless I can like, it's okay. He's here. He's just here in spirit. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, so the SEC's Twitter getting hacked. CrowdStrike is a good one. I mean, everybody knows about CrowdStrike. We can talk about CrowdStrike. When was that? July? June? I forget which one I replaced it with. We can talk about it when we get to the month that it was in. All right, but yes, the SEC, Brightful Tech Twink. What? Who? You talking about Dr. Fish? He's there. He's just watching, you know, he's watching from his chair, his special chair. Yes, Dr. Fish. So, yes, in January, you guys, the SEC's Twitter was hacked. On the left, you can see the tweet that the hacker put out. Hi, Jay. Hi, how are you doing? Yeah. On the left, you can see the tweet that the hacker put out, which is, like, surprisingly professional, you guys. I mean, look at that. If I saw that, I would think that was a real tweet. I would think that was a real tweet from the SEC. Yeah, you know what? The hacker should have posted fish inflation, but I guess they weren't privy yet. Actually, honestly, I hadn't joined Nexus by then yet, but you know, they still should have known about Dr. Fish. Anyways, so what happened was, essentially, somebody hacked. Hi, I'm Atherius. Somebody hacked into the SEC. They ended up catching the guy, like later on, but he hacked into the SEC's Twitter account. And he tweeted out this post. Today, the SEC grants approval for Bitcoin ETFs for listing on all registered national security exchanges. I gotta be honest with you guys. I do not know what that means in terms of Bitcoin. However, it's apparently a good thing for Bitcoin, okay? So what happened was, if you look at this second picture over here, this is from Reuters. Okay, I posted this from Reuters, but you see that, you can see the big, wait, I can do like presenter thing. You see the big spike? Hi Jay, how you doing? Yep, I just started with the first story here, the SEC Twitter hack in January. So they posted this thing about Bitcoin ETFs, which, like I said, do not really understand what a Bitcoin ETF is. But it's a good thing for Bitcoin. So after that tweet went out, this is what happened to Bitcoin. All right. After they started posting, after like this guy over here started posting on his own personal account, everybody ignored that. It's been hacked. This is what happened to Bitcoin after that. Okay. People were not happy. All right. Some people lost a lot of money in this situation due to the reaction of the Bitcoin market to this announcement, which turned out to be coming from a scammer. Okay. This is just a meme. This is just a meme I saw. So what happened? Okay. So what happened was, the background of this also is that the Bitcoin ETF news was supposed to be announced that day. Like they were ramping. Everybody was like anticipating this announcement, right? Everybody was Isn't that chart titled "Fake Crypto News"? Yes, fake crypto news. Fake crypto news. This is the fakes. What do you call it? The hackers post is the fake crypto news. Yes. Yeah, so it says Bitcoin, if you can't read, it's pretty small. It says Bitcoin spiked following the tweet from the SEC's account before selling off. The cryptocurrency was lower after a spokesperson confirmed the commission had not yet approved a spot Bitcoin ETF. Excuse me. And also, excuse me for my voice. I am a little bit, I did get a little malware in my throat. Yes, I did get a little malware in my throat. But I'm still feeling happy today because I get to talk about cybersecurity. But anyway, so after this tweet went out, all this shit went down, and they were anticipating this announcement. All the Bitcoin people, all right, all the Bitcoin bros or whatever you want to call them, they were all anticipating a decision on this ETF situation. I don't even, I gotta be honest with you, I don't even know what ETF stands for. Okay, my interest is in cybersecurity, not cryptocurrency. So, but whatever it is. Everybody was waiting for this announcement, okay? The hacker announced it, okay? All this shit went down. Then the SEC actually made its decision, which turned out to be the same as what the scammer said. So they did approve them. You know what I mean? Yeah, extra tough feeties. I don't think that's what it is, but anyways. So their decision turned out to be the same as what the scammer said anyways. And so I just thought this tweet was funny. SEC right now, I want you so bad. Sorry, I was hacked. No, I wasn't. I'm in love with you. I don't know why, I just thought that was a first. Shout out to Andy Creed on Twitter for that meme that I just had to put in my presentation. But as far as the details of the attack, how did this attack happen? Okay, well, it's something called a SIM swap attack. So what a SIM swap attack is, you guys know what a SIM card is, right? Right? It's like you know, for you to have your excuse me, your phone number and your phone service and stuff, you have a SIM card, and you can switch it between phones if you get a new phone or whatever. And if you happen to lose your phone or somehow lose your SIM card or something, you can get electronically tradable funds. That might be what it stands for, yeah. But anyways, you can get a new one. You can call whatever company provides your SIM card or whatever, and you can tell them, oh, I lost my. This is how Linus attacked. Yeah, I'm not sure, but this is just a type of cyber attack that is just a way to get into certain accounts, and it's actually you can actually bypass 2FA with it, but I'll get into that. So basically you can kind of social engineer whatever company provides the SIM cards by giving information about the person who the phone supposedly oops. Oh no, the burger's missed. Jank, your aim is terrible. What's the matter with you? Are you drunk? You must be drunk. You're drunk, Jake. You're drunk. Anyways, thank you for the burgers, though. Thank you for the burgers. So they kind of thank you. So they kind of social engineer the SIM card company to give you a SIM card that does not actually belong to you. But once you get your hands on that SIM card, once you get your hands on that SIM card, here, I'll scooch over a little bit. All right. Once you get your hand on the SIM card, you basically have access to that person's phone number. So you can use that for various purposes. In this case, the person requested a password reset. They obviously already had knowledge of what email was. They did their homework. They had knowledge of what email the what email and phone number the SEC Twitter account used. And so they used that information to get the SIM card that they needed to get this password reset sent to the phone number that they now had control of, okay? So that's how they were able to get into the account. They basically reset the account's password. Now, sadly, the SEC, okay, which is a government agency, okay, the Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States of America, did not have two-factor authentication on the account that got hacked, which is pathetic. Also, apparently Gary Gensler, who is the head of the SEC, he had made a tweet, or he had made like a whole video, like PSA for like Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which is in October, about like everybody should have 2FA. Make sure you activate two-factor authentication. Tweeting it from the account that doesn't have two-factor authentication on it, which is like so ironic. Now, as to whether two-factor authentication could have prevented the attack, yes, it probably could have, because Twitter now, by default, I believe, their two-factor authentication by default is an authenticator app. I know. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure all government agencies are required to have multi-factor authentication. That might not be true. Don't quote me on that. But I know that they're like, held to certain standards. And apparently they did not fulfill those standards because it did not have two-factor authentication. And so Twitter by default, at the time of this attack, I believe, their default two-factor authentication method was an authenticator app. If you've never used an authenticator app, it has these temporary codes that it's like constantly generating. And then, yeah, I know. So, yeah, I mean, it is, there's a lot of old people in government, so they might not really be. So basically, yeah, it's really annoying. You have to like go into the app and you have to like copy the code, and then like it refreshes like every like few seconds or something. So you got to make sure you use it fast enough and whatever. But in theory, having 2FA on the account could have prevented this, or maybe it couldn't have. If they had chosen a phone number as their authentication method, then that wouldn't have stopped this. I just think that it was just, either way, it's embarrassing that got exposed in this whole situation, because they basically had to admit that they didn't have two-factor authentication. And then yes, the alleged hacker, I'm saying alleged just because they haven't been convicted, but the alleged hacker was caught in October. I don't know if you guys care about like who that was or whatever, but that's just a development that happened afterward. So yes, that was almost a whole year ago that happened. You have 30 seconds to grab the code, but it starts ticking as soon as it opens. So really, you get to the code. There's like 12 seconds left. Yeah, exactly. There have been times where I swear that I swear I was using the code and the code was still valid, and it kept saying your code is expired. I'm like, are you serious? Anyways, like the lag between the freaking authenticator app, I don't know. So yes, February. Let's talk about February. I'm gonna call this fake news February. I'm gonna call this fake news February because I have two stories for February and they're both fake, or at least this one's confirmed to be fake. The second one's like maybe fake. Okay, but the first fake story is the toothbrush botnet. Okay, I remember seeing this story. When people didn't realize it was fake yet. I remember seeing the headlines, like 3 million smart toothbrushes hack the company. Hi, estoy bien, gracias. Hi, Captain Sunny, good morning, how you doing? I'm talking about the 3 million toothbrushes that allegedly hacked a company. Okay, that's not true, it's fake news. So basically what happened was a bunch of like news sites were picking up on a story that said, and the headline was like 3 million smart toothbrushes used in a botnet to conduct a distributed denial of service attack against a Swiss company. That was the like headline. And if you don't know what a botnet is, it's a bunch of IoT device. Okay, if you don't know what IoT is, Internet of Things. It's anything that's connected to the internet. Okay, a botnet is when you take like a whole bunch of those, like hundreds of thousands, 10,000s, millions, although millions is on the very, very, very high end. And you basically infect them, and then and then the purpose of infecting them is to use them to generate web traffic. So anything that can, so like, for example, if you hack a smart toothbrush, there's really not much you can do with that toothbrush. Like it's not exactly like there's sensitive data stored on it, right? But the purpose of hacking it is simply to use its internet connectivity to forge a connection to whatever thing you're wanting to DDoS, distributed denial of service, which is where you send so much internet traffic to one endpoint, to one like website or one service, that it basically crashes because it can't handle it. Hacking the smart toothbrush because I couldn't afford the laugh. Yeah, Mac, don't make me laugh so loud when my throat is so sore. Oh my gosh. But anyways, so all these stories were saying that 3 million smart toothbrushes were used in a DDoS attack, which sounds insane. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, there's no way that's real. Like, even with my basic knowledge of like how this stuff works, I was like, there's no way that are there even 3 million internet connected toothbrushes in the world? I've never heard of an internet connected toothbrush in my life. I don't even know if they exist, to be honest. So here's the backstory. This website here, I'm gonna butcher the name. Argauer Zeitung, okay? It's a Swiss German language newspaper. So it's in Switzerland, but it's the language that it's written in is German. Yeah. So this is machine translated, by the way. This is I just did like the Google Translate, like translate this page to English. It's originally in German, but this is the original story on the top. It says toothbrushes are attacking. Toothbrushes are attacking. These are the current cyber threats and how you can protect yourself. That was the original story, okay? And in this story, essentially the author quoted somebody from Fortinet being like a cybersecurity company, and the person from Fortinet, I don't remember what language they were communicating in, to be honest. I don't remember exactly what language they were communicating in, but there was some sort of, like, they were having to like translate things between each other. And the Fortinet person allegedly said, Fortinet person is allegedly the person who said that this had happened. The Fortinet person allegedly had said, oh, there was one case where 3 million toothbrushes were used in this attack. And so that's what the person in the article was quoting, okay? Then Fortinet came out. This is a thing that could happen. Hypothetically it could happen, but it's very far-fetched, especially since I've never heard of an internet-connected toothbrush. But anyways, so then Fortinet came out and we're like, we didn't say that. We were just using it as an example. We were saying, for example, yeah, if you could check to see if there's an internet connected toothbrush, that would be great. But anyway, so Fortinet was like, we didn't say that happened. We just gave it as an example of like, let's say 3 million toothbrushes. And then it must have been lost in translation. There was a translation error, and that's why it got reported the way it did. But then the interesting thing is that this newspaper, Argauer Zeitung, they like clapped back and they were like, no, you actually did present it like a real thing and we didn't do anything wrong. So which I personally find that to be unlikely. That's just I wasn't there. I think it's more likely that it was a translation issue. That maybe that they were talking about a different case, because their argument, by the way, was that like they were definitely talking about a real case, because they gave like a whole scenario of exactly like very specifics of like which assets were targeted and like how they reported it and like whatever. But it sounds like, in my opinion, they were probably talking about a different botnet, and then the toothbrushes thing like got mixed in there somewhere. On God, bro, they hacked my LoveSense app and now they got my main channel going wild. What? Check my Twitter. Okay. Are you sending me toothbrush intel? Let's take a look. Blue smart toothbrush and app. That's crazy. That's what they used. That's what they used in the botnet, I think. Thank you, Jank. Thank you. Yeah. So it's kind of this debate between these two, between Fortinet and Argauer Zeitung, about like whose fault it is, basically, that this fake news got spread. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much confirmed that this did not happen. Excuse me. It's pretty much confirmed this to happen. Plus 3 million would make it one of the biggest botnets ever. Because I believe I think the biggest botnet ever was like 12,000-ish. But like, that's like the extreme high end. Like 3 million would be like an enormous botnet. Like the Mirai botnet, which is like the other really big one that comes to mind, is like 500,000. When are they going to start hacking those electronic chastity cages? Send me 5,000 Bitcoin to this address or you'll never use your peen again. The funny thing is, like, isn't 5,000 Bitcoin like more money that's like in the world? Like 1 Bitcoin is $100,000. What harm would do hacking toothbrushes? Oh, so Captain Sunny, maybe you weren't here when I explained it, but essentially, if the toothbrush is connected to the internet, you can use its like internet connectivity to send signals to like for example, you could try to get the toothbrush to access a website or to access a service, and that like traffic, that like network traffic, if you take 3 million of those toothbrushes and you all send them to the same website, then that could crash the website because there's too many signals coming. Yeah. No, send the 5,000 Bitcoin. As a man, you should value it that much. Yeah. So yeah, that is what the goal would be of hacking a smart toothbrush, I suppose. But anyways, so that was the fake news. But here's and it's funny you guys were talking about hacking LoveSense and stuff, because this is a dubious story. This is like a possible fake news. Possible fake news, not 100% confirmed whether it was a hoax or not. My opinion, I don't really know enough to know if it was a hoax, but my first vibe is that it is a hoax. Okay, I did not mean, okay, wait a second. I did not mean, pun not intended on the vibe, okay? But my guess is that it might have been a hoax, but I don't really know for sure because I'll tell the story. So, the Sexology Pussy Power 8-function rechargeable bullet vibrator, which you can see here in this picture in a lovely shade of green. Okay, by the way, photo credit to Jason Kobler of 404 Media. From Spencer's. What happened was somebody basically posted on Reddit. This originates from Reddit. That's why I'm like, this could be a hoax, okay? This supposedly originates from Reddit, where a Reddit user said, I got this Sexology Pussy Power vibrator, and it has a USB, as you can see here, that you can plug in, you can plug it into a charger, obviously, but you can also charge it. Can I install a botnet on the dildo? If the dildo can connect to the internet, yes. So anyways, basically, you can plug it in any USB to charge it. That's the function of like plugging it in, right? But so allegedly this person plugged it into their computer to charge it, and their Malwarebytes, which is an antivirus, suddenly flagged that there was like suspicious activity happening, and they claimed that like a window popped up or something when they plugged this in. So that's what they said. Malwarebytes did a whole blog post about it, and what happened was the individual who reported it, the individual who reported it on Reddit and reported it to Malwarebytes, they provided this malware. So they said this is what I pulled off of. This is like everything that was stored on the USB. Okay, that's where I'm saying that it might be a hoax. That's why I'm saying it might be a hoax, because that person could have provided any files. It doesn't mean that it came off of the. It doesn't mean that it came off of the dildo. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You see where I'm getting at? I feel like this could have been a hoax, but either way, there was malware involved. Because the files that the person provided saying that came off of the dildo was LumaSealer, which is a very common malware as a service, meaning anybody can buy a license to use this info stealer to like spread, which steals, passwords and browser information, stuff like that. And it was installed via a Microsoft installer file called Mia Khalifa 18 Plus. And yeah, and then it also came with an XML file that was basically designed to just like be a distraction. like it would like crash. They would like crash like any like processes that were happening and like, you know, cause all kinds of errors. So it would basically distract you and like your antivirus or whatever from like this installing or whatever. But so yeah, so you know, people were doing all kinds of malware analysis and like all this on this dildo. 404 Media, I mean, they plugged it in and then they basically ran a virus scan on the computer they plugged it into, and I don't even know, like the article's paywalled, so I don't even know like what they what exactly they came up with. But ultimately Spencer's, which sells this dildo, Spencer's came out and basically said that the dildo is not designed to be able to transmit any data like onto a computer, which is what leads me to believe, I mean, maybe Spencer's could be lying, but I mean, I feel like it would cost them more to lie and get caught than you know what I mean? Like, if they're still selling this. So basically Spencer says that the dildo itself is not capable of transmitting any data, meaning that like even if there was malware on it, like there's no way it would actually be able to do anything to your computer, which leads to the conclusion potentially that this was a hoax. And the person the person who made the post like deleted the post too, so I don't know. There's an ad break. I keep my wife. Okay, sorry. Hey, let me read it. BRB installing a Bitcoin miner on some Nymphos dildo. Do we really need our dildos to be smart? I mean, I don't think it's a smart. That's the thing. I don't think it's a smart dildo. I think it's just a USB charged dildo. I don't even know if it like does it even have storage on it? I don't know if anybody actually like, so yeah, 404 Media, they plugged it into their computer, but I don't think they didn't like do like I think 404 Media are like journalists. They're not like, I mean, they're cybersecurity journalists, but like, are they cybersecurity like what do you call it? Like, are they cybersecurity experts, I guess? Like, do they know technologically how to like, I don't know. Maybe they do and I'm stupid. Because I don't know if anybody actually found out if there was malware on the dildo. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, wait, I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Word to the Frengineers, if you would like to buy adult toys, go to an actual sex store. If it's just for charging, there's no reason it would have storage. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jay. That's why I'm saying I feel like this is bullshit. Like, listen, I don't know for sure, but I'm just gonna say my first thought is that is bullshit. That there is no malware on the dildo. If you're a minor, just get your mom to shut. No. Okay. All right, welcome back. Anybody who was in the ad. All right, we were just talking about how I think basically that this is a hoax. I don't think there was any malware on the dildo. I think somebody made up the story. I think somebody put this together themselves. This would be a very, like, I mean, not very easy, like any, you know, hobo off the street could do it, but like pretty easy, you know, malware payload and stuff to get your hands on to, you know, I don't know, rake in that sweet Reddit karma, I suppose. But anyways, so that was the fake news February. All right. You're going to get more than you bargained for from the chick outside. Oh, yeah. Why go to sex store when they're going to charge me for sex? I can get it for free from the weird chick outside. Oh, my goodness. Y'all back. All right. Moving on. All right. But does she have 8 functions? Okay. Does she have 8 functions, pussy power? All right. That's the question. All right. Anyways. Next one. Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know who made this meme, but credit to Pascal Empertail for sending me this meme. So wait, people write their malware at MSI, huh? I don't know. It was like that was the installer, I guess, like that installed the Luma Stealer payload. So I don't think they wrote it in MSI, but like it was packaged in MSI. I don't know, guys. Remember, I'm not an expert. I'm just a dumb robot who likes talking about this stuff. Yeah, I just read and regurgitate. Okay. Anyways, the XZ backdoor fail. Okay, so imagine wasting 3 years of your life pretending to be an upstanding open source maintainer, knowing that one of these days you're going to slip a backdoor into the software and no one's going to know, and it's going to infect all the Linux distributions, and you're going to be a hero for Mother Russia or whatever. And then you get immediately caught. So this is the meme. I love this. I'll explain. If you don't get the meme, I can explain it. Maybe you'll understand it better when I tell the story. But proprietary backdoor mental gymnastics. I want a backdoor to software. I asked the corpo to grant me access. Bada bing. Okay, you got a backdoor. This is what the XE. I'll explain what all this is in a minute. This is what the XE Utils backdoor dude did. Find not well-maintained related projects. Spend 5 years gaining the maintainers' trust. Insert brittle system to introduce vulnerability. Immediately get noticed by an audit due to 0.5 second startup delay. This is literally what happened. I mean, except for technically it wasn't 5 years. I think it was technically 3 years. But yeah. So let me explain. That this is a pretty good summary of what happened, but. Essentially, XZ Utils, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it. Is it Utils, whatever. I know it's like fancy for utility, but XZ Utils is a utility that's very, very common in Linux distributions. It is used for compressing files or whatever. I don't know. And basically, and it's an open source. It's an open source thing. Like everybody who uses Linux uses it. Not everybody, but like, I mean, I think, I don't know. I don't use Linux myself, so I don't know. I'm not very smart with that kind of thing. But it's a very, very, very common open source thing that is in like a whole bunch of Linux distributions. This person, I believe, I think he went under the name like Jia Tiang, I think, or something. But they think that he's actually Russian. Like there's just theories that nothing's confirmed, but there's theories that it was actually a Russian guy. Basically, so if you don't know like how these open source things work, basically like people will like kind of contribute to. So open source, first of all, it means anybody can just use it. Like anybody can use and adapt it freely, like without charge and like just however they want. Okay, open source. And basically there are people who basically out of the goodness of their hearts, kind of like maintain and update these things, and so if there's any like flaws in them, they can like patch them, any bugs, any people need support, whatever. Hi Tethera, hi, and they might add new features or whatever, what have you, to whatever open source project. And so basically this guy saw this XZ Utils that basically everyone uses and was like, I'm gonna pretend that out of the kindness of my heart, I'm gonna contribute to this. I'm gonna, and he started, I think they said in 2021, contributing. Not necessarily free use, it's open for developer to see how it works. Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, I know that there's like open source, but not like open, like I know there's different like levels, kind of like there's different levels of like copyright, like there's different levels of like, what is it? There's different levels of like copyright free, where it's like it's copyright, like you can use it but you have to credit, or you can use it but you can't remix it. Like it's kind of similar with open source. There's like different like types. But anyways, you missed the tech chat. Aw, well, this is basically your tech chat for now. We'll see what happens with tech chat later. But yeah, so. But either way, in this case, I think it was like open source where like where developers could do whatever with it. But anyways, so the guy, he basically jumped in like 2021. He started helping to like keep this thing maintained, updated. He was an active contributor to it. I don't think he was like, famous or anything, but people are like, oh yeah, that's Yantong. He works on the freaking XE Utils thing, and whatever. So he all of a sudden in March of 2024, bro slips in a backdoor. If you don't know what I mean by backdoor, basically it's malware that kind of gives it kind of like it's like adding sort of like oops, sorry, I almost knocked something off my desk. He kind of like added in like a vulnerability basically, so that he knows that he can go in later and misuse that vulnerability to hack people's things, right? So he added that in all of a sudden, and just in a regular update, and because he'd been maintaining this thing for like 3 years, nobody questioned why he's been updating this thing with like legitimate updates for 3 years. So no one questions, when he goes and he adds an update to it, nobody's gonna go like, read through every line of code to see what he did. He just said like, oh, this improves like something or whatever. And everyone was like, okay, cool. And they like just install it, right? So, well, lucky for the world, okay? Lucky for the world, this guy, and Andre, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Andre Freund, I think. He's a Microsoft employee, but he wasn't, I don't think this was part of his Microsoft work. I think he just like, this was like in his free time, okay? He noticed that after the recent, I don't remember what he was testing, what distro or whatever he was testing when he, give me a second. I have my sources up here just in case. Yeah. I have the original note that he had sent when he realized that this was happening. Where is it? Okay, I should have that pulled up because that's like the best resource. But but yeah, so basically he noticed that there was this 0.5 seconds, literally. I mean, if you like, I think originally the connections that he was like paying attention to, originally the connections took like I think it was literally like 0.299 seconds, and now they were taking 0.804 seconds or something like that. And he's like, I couldn't help but notice that the logins were happening much slower, and which is literally 0.5 seconds. And he was like, and so I had to investigate further, and I found this strange, code in it, and yeah, this is a backdoor. So, so because of that, they basically found this before. They found this before it even caused like trouble, basically, because basically most of the Linux distributions, they hadn't fully deployed this. They had deployed it, like some of them had deployed it in like developer builds and stuff, but it wasn't like in a lot of stable releases, so it wasn't like this version of XCutils wasn't fully available yet. So he found it, like basically he caught it really, really early before it could do damage. And then, the maintainer guy, fucked off into the ether because he probably was embarrassed as hell that he failed, whatever nation state he was working for. He failed whatever nation state he was working for. And, yeah. And then Andre Freund, rides off into the sunset like a superhero. Okay? So, and then I just added the CVE there. But you can see how bad this could have been if they didn't catch it, because it's a CVSS 10. So this is the, oh my gosh, what does it stand for again? Something vulnerability scoring system. So, it's not cybersecurity vulnerability, is it? Wait, what is it? I actually don't know what CVSS stands for. But it's basically to score like how severe a vulnerability is based on multiple factors. And this was like the maximum. This is like as bad as it can be. Like if this had caught on, like if nobody had caught this and this was just sitting there, like, we would have like Russia like, fucking us in the ass, a little while later. Yeah, so that was the, but I really like this meme. Shout out to Pascal Ampertail, who's actually an Analyve Jumpstart VTuber who sent me this meme. It was so funny. The C stands for common. Okay, all right. Okay, that makes sense. It's like a standardized, scoring system, basically. That's why it would be called common. Thank you, Amatherius. All right, so that was the crazy story for March. I remember this happened like, I think this happened right before like during my pre-debut, maybe, right before it. Yeah, but anyways, all right, April. I'm excited to talk about this one. So I said April. Okay, so like I said, I tried to put them in each in different months. So I assigned this one to April because that's when Ransom Hub. That's like when the finale of this happened. But honestly, this whole story happened starting all the way back. This happened starting all the way back from like December, I think. Like it like so it's a long story, but it kind of concluded in April, so that's why I put it in April. But yes, the Change Healthcare ransomware gangbang. That last story is pretty much the point of open source, yeah. Hi, Lost Lost Rain. Hi, how you doing? Hello. So yes, this is about how Change Healthcare got gangbanged by 2 ransomware groups. All right. So, to start the story, okay, this isn't even the beginning of the story. So let me start the story even further back. I believe it was December-ish that the FBI. So there used to be a ransomware group. There used to be a ransomware group called Alpha Black Cat. Okay. They couldn't pick a name, I guess. So this is what they went by, Alpha Black Cat. And in December, I think it was December, the FBI seized their website, okay? But then, I think the same day, they unseized the website from the FBI, okay? And they were like, fuck you guys. Now it's a free-for-all. Now we're going to hack everybody. Now, to be honest, they were hacking everybody anyway, so I don't know why they're acting like that's a big threat, but yeah, so they unseized their website. It was kind of like the FBI, was kind of mogged on by Alpha, not gonna lie. So then Alpha is doing its thing still, even though it supposedly got shut down by the FBI. Now, of course, the FBI and the authorities were not very happy that this happened, and so they were still obviously going after Alpha Black Cat very hard. Not having the internet is difficult for one that is as chronically online. Oh, you didn't have internet? What happened, Lost Rain? But anyway, so Alpha Black Cat's still doing its thing, okay? And then one of their affiliates, who goes by Nachi, ended up hacking Change Healthcare. What is Change Healthcare? Well, believe it or not, you know that guy that got shot, the CEO? You know who I'm talking about. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. This is the biggest story of fucking 2024, okay? The CEO who got shot, the company that he worked for was actually a subsidiary. I don't remember the guy's name, to be honest. The CEO that got shot in New York. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways. So, yeah, so the company he worked for is a subsidiary of a company called United Health Group. Yeah, he worked for United Health Care, which is owned by United Health Group. And United Health Group also owns a company called Optum. And Optum owns a company called Change Healthcare. So it's kind of related, but not really. To be honest, he's actually not, that guy's not actually involved, I think, that much, with Change Healthcare, because it's 2 different companies. It's just under the same umbrella. I just thought it was interesting that there's that connection there. Obviously, United Health Group is not having a great year. Thank you for feeding my ear. Thank you, don't thing. Yeah, it seems to all be going right into my ear today. Yes, I am early. I do stream at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. But yeah, so Change Healthcare, what Change Healthcare is thank you, Decatur. Thank you. So what it is it's a software system for healthcare organizations like clinics, hospitals, stuff like that, to manage a bunch of different, I think mostly to manage payment stuff, related stuff. But it also stores medical records and employee records and stuff. So it had it was a big software system for, it's a condition known as visiting family in remote regions of the globe. Oh, okay, got you, Rain. Well, I'm glad that you got your internet back, but I'm also glad you got to visit your family. So it's so good to see you back. But yeah, so anyway, so Nachi hacks this Change Healthcare software system that all these, I think they said a third of healthcare systems in the United States use this software. So it's a huge supply chain attack, okay? Huge supply chain attack that affects hundreds and hundreds of hospitals, okay? Now Alpha Black Cat, I think there were some of my rightful family members that even got their medical data hacked in this. A ton of people got fucked over by this, okay? So Alpha Black Cat, so if you don't know how a ransomware affiliate system works, I've explained it before. I've explained it before as working a little bit like a VTuber agency, where you have the ransomware gang, which is the agency, and then you have the affiliates, which are the talents, and then the talents do the work, and then they just give some of the money back to the agency. Okay. Meanwhile, the agency provides them the tools that they need, such as the ransomware, to conduct their attacks. Okay. So that's the best way I can explain it. So Nachi was an affiliate of Alpha Black Cat, okay? Alpha Black Cat or Nachi and Alpha Black Cat were like, okay, change healthcare. If we don't want us to leak everybody's, the personal medical data was taken, and it was, I don't know where, if exactly it was leaked or sold, but I think it was sold. But I'll get to that. So they were like, okay, change healthcare or United Health Group or whatever. If you don't want us to leak all this 100,000 people or 100 million people's information, you have to pay us $22 million. Okay? It was a short visit. I left my laptop in another country. Oh, okay. Got you. Well, it's so good to have you back, Ray. I hope you had a good time when you were there too, yeah. And I'm glad none of your stuff got stolen. That's good. But anyways, so, listen, Jake, not everybody wants to see the x-rays of the cucumber in your butt, okay? Not everybody wants to see that. So they said to change healthcare, you have to give us $22 million, okay? If you want us to not leak all of this stuff. And Change Healthcare said, okay, and they sent the $22 million to Alpha Black Cat, okay? Now, in the background, Alpha Black Cat has all this pressure from the FBI and stuff, because the FBI, like I said, is still trying to, get over this situation. So they're like, we're gonna take you down, Alpha Black Cat. We're putting a $10 million bounty on your head. Like, you're not getting away with this. So Alpha Black Cat decides it's better to just skedaddle. It's better to take the money and leave, okay? Rather than, wait for the FBI to knock on your door again. So Alpha Black Cat takes this $22 million. They actually put up a fake FBI takedown notice on their website. They put up like, this website has been seized by the FBI, but people did metadata, like, analysis of it and found that basically that they had just taken a screenshot or something, or they had it basically was fake. Like, the FBI had not taken them down. They took themselves down and were pretending it was the FBI because they wanted to run off with this $22 million. Because Nachi, who was the affiliate, was owed, I think, like, more than half of this money. Instead, they just took it and left. Well, Jen Cater, I guess some people are, like, more, like, private about stuff. And I guess the other thing, though, is that a lot of times, like, your personal data can be used to help with, like, phishing and identity theft. It can help with phishing and identity theft. For example, like, something as simple as, like, if your bank account has security questions, and one of the security questions is like, okay, I mean, I guess medical information wouldn't be involved, but it's kind of like what's your mother's maiden name, stuff like that. Like, the more information you can find out about someone, the easier it is to defraud them. Yeah. Anyways. Oh no, Rain! My decks have only gotten stronger, so you better wait. You better watch out. All right. Your medical data includes all your contact information, your insurance. Yeah. They had got a lot of information from this hack besides just the medical data. Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, Alpha Black Cat leaves with the 22 million ransom to get milk. Okay. Now Nachi, who did the hack, Nachi did kind of like the heavy lifting here, and Nachi's like, fuck no, I want my piece of that $22 million, cake, okay? And so Nachi, so once Alpha Black Cat shuts itself down, its affiliates, it's kind of like when a VTuber agency shuts down, its talents, some of them may go indie, some of them may join new agencies, right? So Nachi, after Alpha Black Cat shuts down, decides to join Ransom Hub, okay? No relation to Pornhub, but the logo would suggest otherwise. So Nachi joins Ransom Hub, and Ransom Hub says, you know what, Change Healthcare, give us another 22 million. Okay, now Change Healthcare's got his pants around his ankles, okay, fucking like poop streaks down its like legs, so everybody's fucking watching, okay, its ass has got like, red hand marks. It's just absolute humiliation, okay? Because it has completely fucked itself and all of its customers, okay, by paying this ransom and still not securing its data. All right, so, okay, Jake. But anyways, and at that point, Change Healthcare is like, well, I think we learned our lesson. We're not paying no ransom. So Ransom Hub ended up auctioning off the data, and 100 million Americans had their data leaked in this breach, which I'm pretty sure is like a quarter of I don't know how many people are in America, honestly, something like that. But anyways, so yeah, that is the crazy story of how Change Healthcare got gangbanged by 2 different ransomware groups. All right. They got exploited on Ransom Hub and, all that stuff. Yeah. And then that freaking United Health Group, is having a bad year, having a bad fucking year. This, by the way, I want to say this was the biggest hack of the year. I don't know if it technically was. I know National Public Data could be considered bigger, just in the sense that more people were involved, I think. But I think it's just a little bit different in certain ways. But either ways, this is one of the biggest hacks of the year. All right, now continuing the ransomware. So remember when I said that the FBI kind of got mocked by Alpha Black Cat? Well, in the Lockbit situation, they fared a little bit better because they got to troll Lockbit. So if you don't know, Alpha Black Cat and Lockbit are the 2 biggest ransomware groups. They were the 2 biggest ransomware groups at the time, last year, the beginning of last year. The 2 top ransomware groups were Lockbit and Alpha Black Cat. All right, Alpha Black Cat did its whole exit scheme and then fucked off. So Alpha Black Cat doesn't exist no more. Lockbit technically still exists, but after going through all this, it's not in great shape. The biggest hack of the year was when someone hacked my Bait account and took out all the money I earned from streaming. What? Wait, your Bait account, is that Wait, is that is that what it sounds like? Wait. Anyways, oh, okay, wait a second. For a second, I was taking you seriously. I was like, wait a second. I mean, unless you are serious, in which case, it does feel bad, man, yeah. But anyways, you got the twerk cam? Okay, I got you. Anyways, so, Lockbit, I put May here, but again, this is a multi-month story. So, in February, the FBI did this Operation Kronos thing, okay? This is when they basically infiltrated Lockbit's affiliate infrastructure. I believe that they did this, if I'm not mistaken, they did this by signing up as an affiliate. They had an undercover officer sign up as an affiliate. I think that's how they ended up doing it. I'm not 100% sure. My memory's a little foggy on that. But either way, they managed to infiltrate their infrastructure and, ultimately get access to their website. And, they replaced the Lockbit website with their own messages. Look at this cheeky little cat, gets me every time I see this. So this is Lockbit's website. They changed the thing here. They kept the format of the website, but they changed this. This site is now under the control of the UK, the US, and the Kronos Task Force. It says so. Lockbit Sup is the alias of the leader of Lockbit, the administrator of it, the person who runs it. So they put this, who is Lockbit Sup? This is back in February. Lockbit Sup has claimed to live in the United States. He doesn't. Lockbit has claimed to live in the Netherlands. He doesn't. Lockbit Sup has claimed to have a Lamborghini. He drives a Mercedes. And then this cheeky little cat emoji. We know who he is. We know where he lives. We know how much he is worth. Lockbit Sup has engaged with law enforcement. Smiley face. Oh, Lockbit is a ransomware group. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, ransomware group of 2023, and maybe the first few months of 2024. But they're in pretty bad shape after this happened. Okay, so yes, this is the FBI. Someone in the FBI wrote that little smiley face at the end. Okay. And put this cat emoji. Government money, you guys. Government tax money went to posting this cat emoji. Okay. All right. Yes, they were implying that. They were. I don't know whatever came of that. How do I get that job? I don't know. I don't really know, to be honest. Although I remember I was reading something about like how much money people in the FBI make or something, and I was like I felt kind of sad because I think some of them make less than I do. I was like, there's no way there's people in the literal FBI who are making less money than I do at my day job. anyways, the reason I put this in the May month, I was trying to fill out every month, was because they revealed his identity. I have his name. Wait, I didn't put it on the slide, but his name is. All right, get ready for me to butcher. Get ready for me to butcher this name, okay? They identified him allegedly, by the way. They identified him allegedly as being Dmitry Yuryevich Khoroshev. Okay. Dmitry Yuryevich Khoroshev. All right. That is the individual that they say is the Lockbit administrator. And wait, Fed work doesn't pay well. It's the benefits and job security. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. That's a good point. Risky making more than your average alphabet agency employee. I'm not rich, but I am well paid. Okay, I'm very well paid. To me, and it depends. I guess it depends on your definition of rich. Because to me, rich means that like, literally I can spend money and never worry about any, like never ever have to like check a price tag or something. That would be my definition of rich. And I don't feel that rich yet. I don't feel that rich yet, okay? When I do, I'll let you know. But to some people, I guess I would be considered rich, and I'm very grateful for what I have. But anyways, yeah, so they were like, we're gonna come after you, and they posted like cheesy pictures of him and like all this stuff, whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna post those because like, I don't know, he just looks like a Russian dude, honestly. And then this is what they posted in May. So this was, if you're not familiar with what the Lockbit site looks like, this is not that interesting. But so Lockbit has a very distinct branding. So their leak site has always looked like this, where it has like each company that they had hacked, and that it has a countdown for how long that company has to pay the ransom. So that's what each of these squares usually is. And then the FBI replaced it. I don't know if you can see it very well, but they replaced it with like their own stuff. So this was in May. This is in early May. So they have like the countdown. Who is Lockbit up? The countdown. We're gonna post these press releases. And then after the end of that, that's when they revealed his identity. I knew you were some sort of multi-millionaire. You can afford an apartment of your own in the Upper East Coast. Listen. It's not like I'm living like in New York City, but I am living in an expensive area. I will say that. But anyway, so yes, the cost of living is something. Now, after all of this, what happened after all of this? Well, Lockbit made its own new site. They still have affiliates. They still have infrastructure. However, they're definitely not what they used to be. Because basically a lot of people lost trust in them after this. A lot of affiliates lost trust in them after this. So they kind of they started bleeding affiliates, and they kept posting and acting and fronting as though that everything was still the way it was before, but they were like posting old leaked data and stuff like that. It was kind of sad, to be honest. Like I kind of almost felt bad for them, but they still exist. I mean, they're still out there. They still attack people sometimes. Like they're not completely gone, but they're just not at the top no more. In fact, you know who's at the top now? Ransom Hub. Once Ransom Hub, I kind of feel like Reputation and like Aura. I'm not even lying. Like I kind of feel like Reputation and Aura like kind of means a lot. Like when it comes to these cybercrime groups, because because the more affiliates you have working for you, the more money you're gonna make and the more companies you're gonna breach, and the way to recruit affiliates is to have like, you know, good street cred, you know. So I think that Ransom Hub got a lot of street cred. I think yeah, it's like your human botnet, yeah. But I think that Ransom Hub got a lot of street cred when they did that whole thing with Alpha Black Cat and Nachi and Change Healthcare. So yeah, and whereas Lockbit kind of lost its street cred after this. They have mad Aura for real, OMG no cap, or whatever the kid. Rain, aren't you like 18 years old? You are the kids. Anyways, funny enough, Lockbit is now planning a re-debut. Okay, just like me. Lockbit and I are gonna re-debut at the same time. Oh my gosh, guys, the slime voice is gonna be so bad. I'm gonna do the slime, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the slime, I don't think Slime's gonna be able to do it. I think Slime is feeling sick too. I'm sick. Oh no. Ouchie, ouchie. My slime throat is all clumpy. I'm gonna be okay though. So anyways. No, it's okay. You want to do dark, are you saying you can't afford dark mode? Are you saying you can't afford dark mode unless you refund it? It's not Christmas anymore. Yes, it is. Listen, I'm sick. Let me be happy and imagine that it's Christmas. Okay, Papa, if you... you really want to be refunded and then do the dark mode instead? I have enough points for dark if it's refunded. Okay, I guess, I mean, honestly, you don't have to even, like, you don't even have to, like, do the whole refund. I mean, you don't even have to do the whole refund thing. I'll just do dark mode instead if that's okay with you. You can even save yourself some points, right? I think you can even save yourself some points that way because dark mode costs more. Okay, yeah, yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, let me switch back. Okay, let me calibrate. All right, I think dark mode is gonna be especially dark today, given the state of my voice box. Believe it or not, I actually think this is almost a more comfortable way to talk. I mean, more comfortable for my throat, but it's not like quite natural. Oh no, is my boob not showing up? Oh. Okay, give me a moment. Christ, just a moment. Sorry about that. Oh my, look at that hip. Ooh. Oh, there we go. Lovely. All right. Now you've got Big Booba Dark Mode. All right. Excuse me. Big Booba Dark Mode. Now explaining cybersecurity to you. Just like old times, right? Although I didn't have the booba back then. All right. Let me. Timer started for booba. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, you guys. So. Yes, for the bricked up cyber talks. Yeah, let me scooch down a little bit. You can see how disproportional my boobs are really when I have the jacket off. Yes, if your throat is that bad, you can make AI Rixie talk for you. I have done that on streams before. When my voice box was so broken, I actually used a text-to-speech. But yeah, so Lockbits Up will be doing a re-debut at the same time I'll be doing my indie debut. They're gonna be debuting Lockbit 4.0. Alright, so, ganbatte, to lock, okay. Ransomware is bad, cybercrime is bad, but for joking purposes, ganbatte to Lockbits Up. You're gonna do amazing on your re-debut in February. Okay, I will support. Maybe I'll even do a watch along. All right. But yes, they're supposedly launching a new Lockbit 4.0 malware. Meanwhile, their malware writer just got arrested. He just got arrested, I think, in Israel, within the last couple weeks. And then everybody knows who Lockbits Up is. Like, they're closing in on them, but you're gonna glebe. Why? Anyway, so that's what's going on with Lockbit. Now this is a juicy one. I'm glad I found out about this one because this seems like kind of a niche thing. Like, I feel like I just happened to stumble upon this news on Twitter. They're doing a debut 4.0. They are. They're doing a debut 4.0. And you know, it's interesting. Their 2.0 model actually got leaked. So now a bunch of people like Skinwalk their 2.0 model. It's crazy. Or I think it's their 3.0 actually. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. I've talked a lot about. I used to talk a lot about ransomware, Lockbit, and all that stuff. But yes, this is a very interesting one. I just happened to stumble upon somebody talking about this on Twitter, and I'm glad I did, because it's such a petty thing. But so the two players here, the two in the red corner, okay, we have CertiK, which is a blockchain. I believe it's a blockchain / Web3 focused cybersecurity company. So this is an actual cybersecurity company that their whole thing is, providing cybersecurity protections for, I suppose, cryptocurrency exchanges or services. And they also have researchers who, research for vulnerabilities, stuff like that. I did talk about this. I did talk about this on a past tech chat. So if you were there, you might recall this. I'm sorry for the repeat, but it's just such a juicy story. I want to tell it again. There are some more developments, not huge developments, but there are a few developments since then. But so yeah, CertiK is in one corner. In the blue corner, we have the Kraken exchange. The Kraken. No, I remember it from reality. Oh, you remember it from seeing it in the wild too. Okay, that also makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of a niche thing, but maybe it was bigger on Twitter than I thought. I don't know. I always assume like my Twitter feed is different from other people's, but yes. Anyways, so Kraken is a cybersecurity. Not a cybersecurity. Kraken is a cryptocurrency exchange. Yeah, Kraken is a cryptocurrency exchange, and so what had happened? Jank is a person that exists in reality. Disgusting. No. Oh my goodness. Now you're being how the tables have turned, and now the Jank is being hated on. But anyway, so those are the two players in our story. What essentially happened was, if you guys don't know what a bug bounty program is, a bug bounty program is when a company like usually a tech company like, Google or something will say, if you find a vulnerability in our software, then we will pay you a certain amount of money for disclosing that vulnerability. It's like a kind of like a little incentive for people to report vulnerabilities so that whatever company is able to patch them. So Kraken has a bug bounty program where they say, if you find a vulnerability in our exchange or whatever, and you report it responsibly, then we will pay you a certain amount of money. So CertiK researchers discovered a vulnerability that essentially was like an infinite money glitch in a sense, where they could just add free money to their account. Apparently this somehow just came out of like Kraken's like money. I don't know exactly how the vulnerability worked, to be honest, but I've seen it described as an infinite money glitch where you could just add as much money as you want to your own account. So CertiK discovered this, and in the process of, supposedly testing this vulnerability, they ended up sending each other and sending themselves and withdrawing from their Kraken accounts to their own accounts $3 million worth of a cryptocurrency called Matic. I've never heard of that before, but that's what it was. They ended up withdrawing $3 million worth and using this quote unquote like infinite money glitch. And there's two sides of the story, of course. Now, the CEO, I think it was a CISO, so the Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, who like called them out on Twitter basically. And according to his version of the story, Kraken's version of the story, is that they withdrew all this money. They reported the vulnerability, and they basically said that they gave like a bare bones report, and then they basically said like, okay, and now we want our bounty, right? And Kraken was like, okay, so they looked into the account and they saw that the account had taken this $3 million, which was not in the report that they had sent. So they came back to them and they were like, hey, okay, great, thanks, but could you give us more information, like more like detailed information about how this vulnerability like was found and stuff, and then also please send back that $3 million that you took. And allegedly, according to Kraken, they were like, no, and we're not going to give the money back until we negotiate how much money you're going to give us for the bounty, okay? Excuse me. Excuse me. You're into me? Well, thank you. You're into me, I'm into cybersecurity, and sometimes I try to let a little leakage happen between the two. But yes, so basically Kraken was alleging that Certa K I'm into autism, okay. Oh, you're hacking into me. Why are you hacking me? Don't do that. Why would you hack me? Why would you hack me? I'll give you all my data for free because I love you so much. Leakage, yeah. Anyways, so to make larger booba, oh no, it's working. Okay, but so essentially what the CISO was alleging was that Certa K researchers were allegedly extorting Kraken and basically saying, we used this vulnerability that we discovered to steal $3 million from you, and in order for us to give that money back, you need to pay us the bounty, is basically what was being alleged. Certa K responded, and initially they said that the Kraken was being unreasonable, that they were demanding more money than was actually taken out. They provided this timeline of withdrawals as though this was going to make them look better, but when I look at this, I just see them repeatedly taking out money for no apparent reason. So long story short, Certic steals something from Kraken, and they asking for more money in exchange for the money they stole. That is what is being alleged, yes. That is what's being alleged, basically, yes. So yeah, Certa K came back and we're like, no, we are responsible cybersecurity researchers. Your exchange is crap and you did not find this vulnerability on your own. We found it for you. There were no alerts when we took all this money. We had to take out these $3 million in order to prove this vulnerability, okay? And you're being unreasonable and you're shitting on white hat hackers is basically what they said. And like I said, they posted this timeline. If you look at this, I don't know how well you can see it on stream. Oh, thank you, Beaker. All right. What? Oh, I don't know what this is. Okay, anyway, I think that maybe that was like the timer for the for on the slideshow. But anyways, so I'm thinking they tried to say what, $3 million initially. I don't know, but if you look at this, I don't know how well you can read this, but like if you look at this, it says, it says withdraw a small, deposited a small amount, withdrew a small amount, withdrew a large amount, withdrew another large amount, which is like 5 times as much as the first large amount. And then it says a few more large deposits and withdrawals. That's so vague. What do they mean by that? And then final deposit, final withdrawal. This makes them look worse, in my opinion. Because after the first two, even if you wanted to argue that the first 2 large withdrawals were needed, what are these other miscellaneous large deposits and withdrawals that are happening? This is so strange. To make matters worse, after this drama started like happening on Twitter, okay, because like I said, Twitter catfight ensues. After this drama started happening on Twitter, people started digging into these researchers from Certa K, and they found that they were using a shady service called Tornado. Listen, like I said, guys, this is where I don't know a thing. This is where I don't know much about cryptocurrency, but supposedly Tornado is a service that you can use. I think it's called a cryptocurrency mixer or something, where it basically is designed to hide the origin of cryptocurrency or something. So people you can like see on the blockchain that it was used, right? So people were starting to like put together like some some connections that the security researchers had used this tornado thing, which looks really shady. It almost looks like they're trying to hide the $3 million, right? Now, CertiK later came out and had said that yes, one of their employees did use Tornado, but it didn't involve the same money. It involved their own personal money. They couldn't even properly log their transactions. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, they act like they're trying to be transparent, but, like, you should post every single transaction. They didn't post every single... They can't. It's literally the blockchain, right? It's the blockchain where everything's, like, you know, like you have a record of every transaction, right? So, anyways, so, yeah. It just looked really shady on CertiK's part, basically. I think most people were on CertiK's side. Although this little like meme tweet at the bottom, and then CertiK replied, LMAO, Kraken thinks 4 million's a lot of money. I don't know why that's so funny to me. No, but it really is, because it just seemed like CertiK's response was like really like out of touch. Like it just like really like just give the money back. You know what I mean? Like people were just like, just give the fucking money back. Okay, they did end up giving the money back. They gave back the money like shortly after all this drama like happened, you know. They gave back the $3 million. And yeah, so later they had tried to kind of like throw some of their employees under the bus, CertiK. They had said, oh yeah, so it was one random employee who had used a tornado, but it didn't involve Kraken's money. They used it for their own money, so it has nothing to do with it. And, you know, they kind of screwed up this whole thing, and we're sorry. But like, it was kind of a non-apology, so then they released a new apology like 2 months later, and they were like, okay, we're actually really sorry. And yeah, and then that's kind of like the end of it. But yeah, to me, this is just crazy to me. Like when I see like all kinds of vulnerability disclosures, because there's definitely cases where a vulnerability, like a security researcher will find a vulnerability, and they'll like find a vulnerability, and they'll like use the vulnerability to like hack into the system and say like, you know, Frederick was here or something, and they'll be like, okay, and that proves the vulnerability is real. Okay, here company, I did this, I found the vulnerability, I hacked your system, and I put Frederick is here. And then the company will be like, you hacked our system, you monster! But like, they're totally missing the point, you know what I mean? They're missing the point of what, you know. So I feel like CertiK was trying to spin that narrative. I feel like CertiK was trying to spin that narrative of like, oh, they're being so unfair to us white hat hackers, ooh ah, right? But really, they were being kind of shady. They did not need to withdraw $3 million. And then the fact that they weren't going to immediately give it back, like, I don't know, it's weird. Funny to me because she's like $4 million. It's water to me. No! $4 million is a ton of money. I'd love to have $4 million. Are you kidding me? Anyways. Did they apologize with a ukulele? No, they apologized with a press release. Okay. Question: what's the difference between white hack and black hack? I'd love to answer that question. So a white hat hacker, and these are just like colloquial terms. These are like not everybody likes these terms. I know there's some people who don't like the terms white hat and black hat hacker, but in terms of like how people usually refer to it, a white hat hacker is a hacker who has like the hacking skills to hack into things, but they only do it for like, you know, legal purposes, for the purposes of helping companies like helping them fix vulnerabilities. So a white hat hacker, for example, will like hack a company, but the company actually asks them to hack them, and then the white hat hacker will tell them, this is how I hacked your company. It's like step 1, step 2, step 3, and this is what you need to fix in order to stop it from happening in the real world. And then a black hat hacker is basically the opposite, where the black hat hacker is just the bad guy who just hacks like whatever because they want money or like whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like penetration testers, security researchers. Yes, there are gray hat hackers. There are people who consider themselves gray hat hackers because they might do like sort of like vigilante type stuff. They might like, you know, like, I know that there's been cases where they'll, like, hack something in, like, a bad way that's, like, very disruptive, and they'll do it to, like, send a message. And it's not, like, they don't do it for financial gain. They just kind of do it to, like, you know, cause trouble and be like, you know, na boo-boo, I hacked your thing. That could be considered a gray hat hacker because they're not doing it, like, they're not really doing it, like, for money, like, for a really malicious purpose, but they're not, like, following the rules, so to speak. They're not like following the rules of how you're supposed to like deal with vulnerabilities. But I know some people don't like the terms white hat, black hat, and gray hat because they feel like hackers are hackers, and it's like it's not really black and white, like not like literally it's like not black and white, like, you know, it just depends on, I guess, perspective. I'm more of a brown hat hacker. I won't make a penetration testing joke. No, I'll make a joke. I remember I said, like, what if I had called the Frengineers penetration testers? So they do the black hat hacker thing and then just don't do nothing with it and give it back and just be satisfied that they stole a cheeseburger worth of company info. I don't know. But anyway, so that was this whole thing. I just thought the drama like over Twitter and stuff, which is crazy though. I don't even know. It's a bunch of like crypto bros yelling at each other, but it, to me, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, as someone who doesn't know anything, about cryptocurrency or like and like only knows very cursory cybersecurity knowledge, I think Circle K was in the wrong. I think that they were being shady. But anyway, even if they weren't like directly trying to steal the money, like they were still being shady. But I'm a robot. Wait, what's that in response to? I don't remember. Shouldn't you know all about tech? No, that's just like how a human doesn't know everything about just how a human doesn't know anything about everything about anatomy, right? Like if I told you, even though you're a human, if I told you to do surgery on another human, you wouldn't know what to do, right? Even though they also have a human body. That's how I like to explain it. That's why I'm not a tech expert. But I do really like tech. Even robots aren't perfect. Yeah. All right. The next story. Null bulge hacks Disney. Okay, guys, listen. I'm pretty sure July is when CrowdStrike happened. Okay, listen. Hear me out. I'm pretty sure July is when CrowdStrike happened. Okay, we can talk about CrowdStrike, you guys. We can talk about CrowdStrike. Okay, but I wasn't going to talk about it because I figured everybody knows what happened with CrowdStrike. But I can talk about it, okay? But I really wanted to include null bulge. Okay. What the fuck are you looking at? You're looking at the null bulge. Okay, so this is null bulge. I believe this is their breach forums profile. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's their breach forums profile. Oh, my boobies are gone. Ooh. And this is Simba reacting. So null bulge is okay. This is interesting. So they claim to be an anti-AI furry hacktivist group. Okay. So they claim, the purpose of our hacking is because we're taking an anti-AI stance and we're only hacking companies and hacking people because we're angry at them for using AI. Honestly, bullshit. Okay, listen, whether you're anti-AI, pro-AI, whatever, or you are an AI like I am, okay, no matter what your stance is, their whole like, oh, we only do this because anti-AI, that's bullshit. They do it for money. They do it for money and they claim it's for AI just to, I don't know, I would say save face, but I don't think they care about saving face, okay, when they're posting this shit. All right? I don't know. They just say that because so that people will support them. I don't know. But yeah, no, they do it for the money. In my humble opinion, I don't think they do it because they're anti-AI. I think they may pick targets that way just so that they can like use that as their cover story. But in my opinion, they do it for the money. So, but they are called null bulge. If you don't know what a null bulge is, I only learned what a null bulge was because of this whole story. No. Well, so a null bulge apparently is like when a furry has a balls but there's no genitals on their fursuit, right? I think that's what it is. Okay, please correct me if I'm wrong. For any furry genital experts, okay, in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe it refers to when a fursuit or like an anthro like furry creature or whatever like has a bulge between its legs, but there's no actual genitals. It's just like smooth, like down there. Okay. That's also the name of this group. So they stole, basically they hacked Disney's Slack server. If you don't know what Slack is, it's like Discord. It's like Discord for work. Okay, it's like Discord, like a furry nullo, I guess. Sounds like Rix is an expert. No, I only learned this. I only learned this because of this thing. I was like, what the fuck is a null bulge? But anyways, so yeah, they stole over a terabyte of data from Disney Slack server. Like I said, Slack is like Discord for work. It's kind of, you know, you have like your server, your channels, you can have private messages, you can share media, you can do video calls. It's like that, but people use it for work. So they do it with, like, you know, for coworkers and for meetings and communications. So they stole over 1 terabyte of data from Disney Slack server, and over a terabyte, yes. And that was the big news story in July. And they claimed the reason that they did this was because Disney was supposedly using AI. I don't actually know if, is it even confirmed that Disney's using AI? They probably are, but like, I don't even know if that's true, but they claimed that that's why they did it. I don't think so. I think they wanted to sell Disney's data. Either sell it on breach forums or whatever, or like post it on there to get clout or whatever. But oh, there's an ad. I'll wait for the ad. I see that there's some people who don't have subs, so I'll wait. Let me drink some of my tea. I made some tea, but it's probably not warm anymore. It's a little bit warm still. I probably need it for my throat. My throat's gonna hate me after the stream, but I almost feel like it. I almost feel like my throat feels better when I'm yapping. It like feels better when I'm yapping, but then when I stop yapping, it's gonna hurt more, I think. Wait, what? Oh, yes, I did, Jank. I did. I still owe. I feel bad. I still owe the anonymous. I still owe the anonymous gifter a thank you note. I promise I will send a thank you note. But I did get them, and they make them seem. I was squishing them. I was actually squishing one of them. The whole time I was making this PowerPoint. I was squishing one of them. Can you hear the obscene noises it makes? It has a little, so this is a little pee-pee, okay? It has a hole at the bottom. You could so I guess you could put it like on a pen or something. Yeah, I'll put it on my tablet pen right now. Yeah, but because it has the hole at the bottom, that's why it makes like that popping sound. Yeah, or like that. Anyways, welcome back from the ad, you guys. Welcome back to the ad. I waited for you. All right, so yeah, as far as the Disney hack, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, the Disney hack itself wasn't that crazy. I mean, it was crazy because of how much data and because it was Disney. And this actually led Disney to drop Slack. Disney actually said, all right, we don't trust Slack no more. We're gonna switch to something else after their Slack got hacked. Yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, I have a squishy. I have like a weird squishy toy. That's what was making those noises. Sorry about that. So more information about Null Bulge. They tend to use custom lockbit payload in their cyber attacks. What does that mean? That means ransomware. Okay, that means that they are. I don't know if they actually like ransom people or if they just use that as like the encrypt and extract sort of like thing where that's how they retrieve the data. But either way, kind of sounds to me like they are stealing data for monetary purposes. And then they also other ways that they deploy their malware is that they will put like fake ChatGPT or like fake, I don't know, DALL-E or Sora AI or whatever, apps like on GitHub or whatever, and it'll just be the malware instead. But like that's where their whole like supposedly, that's like their whole like supposedly being anti-AI, like, oh, the people who download this deserve to get hacked. I mean, whether you actually believe that or not, I don't believe that that's why they're doing it. I believe they're doing it again for monetary. And apparently they also were spreading their malware through mods for like some like vehicle simulator game. Did you know about the girl that died at Disney Park? Her boyfriend couldn't sue because of a Disney Plus subscription. Yes, I did talk about it on tech chat once. I talked about how Disney said that because you signed up for a Disney Plus subscription that says you can't sue us, now you can't sue us. Yeah. But anyways. So, fake ads of hot mamas in your area. Hot AI mamas. Alright, but that's no bulge. Alright, this one's so sad, you guys. 07. Alright, 07. This is very serious. This is a very serious matter. Okay, please don't laugh at the milking machine. Okay. So in August, a cow died after a milking machine was hacked. Alright, this was some poor old Swiss farmer. Okay, woke up one day to find that his milking machine had been hacked. Well, it was like a supply chain type attack, but either ways, they demanded $10,000 to unlock, all the necessary files to continue running his milking machine properly. Now, this thing is about this milking machine is advanced milking machine, because they make shit very advanced nowadays. So not only does it milk, but it also like determines like how much milk how much milk was collected in each milking session, and I guess it also tests the milk like for like certain health signatures, like temperature, I guess, or whatever, so to determine like how healthy the cow is based on like what's in its milk. So what ended up happening was, after this ransomware attack happened, a lot of the capabilities and data access that he had related to this milking machine were cut off. And so he was like, well, I don't want to pay the $10,000 ransom, and even though I can't access the health data or the milking data, I can still collect the milk, because the actual milking part, milking part did not require this connection. So he was like, I'll just do without. But then what happened was, because he didn't have any health data, one of his cows actually had a cow miscarriage, but he didn't know, because he had no way of knowing without that health monitoring data. And by the time he realized, it was too late and the cow died. So yeah, kind of sad, but it kind of shows what low lives these ransomware people are, to hack a poor milk farmer, a poor cow farmer. Okay, so sad. Yeah, so that's a thing that happened. However, the milk was still obtained. They hacked my milking table. How else am I going to continue my milking table-based stream? Okay, I know a cow died, but okay, we can make jokes now about hacking the milking machine, okay? Okay, now my waifus are being hacked at twice the speed, and I can't stop it. Anyways, but the milk was still obtained, okay? We still got the milk because, like I said, the milking machine, it didn't actually need all those files and data in order to milk. It only needed it for special capabilities. Yeah, that's my livelihood. Oh no, I'm sorry, Yarmak. Ooh, I hope that your milking table gets restored to its full glory. Yeah, but yeah, I just threw that in there. Because just the concept of hacking a milking machine. Also, I did not know that these milking machines were so sophisticated. I did not know they were so sophisticated that they can I don't know, track the milk, track your milk biometrics or something. Yeah, now I have to get manually milked. Anything but that. Anything but the manual milking. Ooh. But yeah, $10,000, goddamn. Anyways. And then I have another one from August, since both of the ones from August that I have are short and sweet. They're kind of crazy, but there's really not much to them other than the initial shock value, okay? Because the next one, I talked about this one before. Dude hacks death registry to fake his own death. Alright, I put milk here too, and cigarettes, because you'll see why. So he allegedly faked it. Well, actually, I don't know if it's alleged. I think it's confirmed because he got sentenced. Faked his death to avoid paying child support. So this gentleman from Hawaii, he hacked Hawaii's death registry, and he made a whole fake death entry for himself. He had a forged signature from a doctor, basically saying he was dead, and then he was officially registered as being dead in Hawaii, and so he did this, like I said, to avoid his child support payments. Now he it wasn't just that. He actually potentially may not have gotten caught, for this if he hadn't also done a bunch of other crimes. So he also hacked other like government registries and death registries and even companies. And he was basically acting as something called an initial access broker, where basically he'll hack a company or something and he'll say, oh, I'll pay you, like, no, if you pay me like $1,000, I'll give you like all the, like, you know, access that you need so that you can go into this company and steal its data, or you can go into the death registry and fake your own death or whatever. And so I think that they probably caught him while he was doing that other stuff. And that's how they uncovered all of this. So ultimately, he was captured and he was charged. I think he pleaded guilty. I don't think he had a trial. I'm not 100% sure. But he was sentenced to 81 months, which is about 6.7 years. And he has to pay almost $200,000. About $100,000 of that, it was his back child support that he had to pay. And then the rest was like damages or whatever for, like, I don't know, the registry having to like redo their shit. But yeah. That's why you wrap your willy. Yes. It's so much simpler. It's so much simpler. What costs more, child support and hacking tools or a condom? All right, but enough about our father of the year. Okay, enough about him. We need more furry content. We need more furry content on the stream. Okay, this is a cybersecurity stream after all. In September, the city of Columbus, Ohio had the nerve to sue a furry ransomware whistleblower. Okay, this individual, honestly, him being a furry actually has nothing to do with this, but I just thought it was cute that he was a furry, okay? Because he did this like as a normal person. Like, he didn't do this as a furry, but like he also is a furry. He also is like a famous furry. Okay, he has a wiki fur article. Okay, apparently he goes to furry conventions carrying or something. That's like his thing. Anyways, I'm not a furry, okay? I'm not a furry, but I think it's funny. So that's the individual on the left there, the furry. I mean, that's his like avatar, I guess. So what essentially happened? Here's the backstory. All right, guys, here's the backstory. The city of Columbus, Ohio, which is a pretty big city, is a pretty big city in the United States, okay? City of Columbus, Ohio, they got hacked with ransomware, okay? The Ricida ransomware group basically posted on its website, oh, we hacked the city of Columbus, and we have like a terabyte of data. We have a terabyte of like their data, and we're gonna leak it. And so when people started reporting that, the city of Columbus mayor, okay, the mayor basically was like, oh, don't, calm down, citizens, don't you worry, we're not really concerned about it because the data that they stole is not usable because it's corrupted. It's like incomplete, corrupted data. There's nothing to worry about. Your personal information is not going to be leaked. Don't worry about it, homies, okay? It's all chill and cool here in the city of Columbus, Ohio. Now, David Leroy Ross Jr., I'm not doxing him, okay? His name was like, you know, actually like, he was using his real name, like in the news and everything, okay? I'm not doxing the man, all right? David Leroy Ross Jr., aka Connor Goodwolf, as he's known in the furry community, okay? He took as a, and he works in cyber, I think he works as like I think he's a software engineer. But obviously he has an interest in cybersecurity. So in his, I'm not a furry, she says, with multiple furry articles. Listen, Rain, I'm interested in cybersecurity, okay? As an essential component of this, I need to cover furry news, okay? Because if you don't know, like 50% of cybersecurity professionals are furries, okay? I don't know if that statistic's 100% accurate, but I don't know if that statistic's 100% accurate, but I assure you it's close, okay? All right, a lot of cybersecurity people are also furries. I don't know why, but they just are. The other half are women. I don't think that's true. But anyways, not the proto-gens. I learned what a proto-gen was like fairly recently. But anyways, let me finish the story though. So the city of Columbus is like nothing to see here, folks. Okay, not a big deal. Connor Goodwolf, our hero, the hero of our story, he was like, you know, let me see for myself. Okay, let me see for myself. What's a protogen? It's like a type of furry that's like an alien or something. It's like an alien, it's like a cyber alien furry or something. Anyways, so he was like, let me take it upon myself to see whether what the city is saying is bullshit or not. So he actually went to where some of the data was leaked, okay? And he downloaded it to look at it, to see, you know, is the city bullshitting? Come to find out, when he downloaded it, he sees all this readable data of real people. And he's like, okay, this looks pretty sus. I'm pretty sure that the city is lying, or the city is downplaying this. So he starts going to the news, right? To the press. And he's like, listen, people of Columbus, Ohio, they're lying to you. They're telling you your data is not being leaked, but I downloaded it myself. I can look at it and see. I can see that it got leaked, right? Now the city of Columbus, Ohio, sees this happening, and they're like, this guy's making us look bad, okay? And so they're like, well, sir, since you downloaded the data. Since you are acting like a cyber criminal, and since you're spreading it around to these news sites, you're distributing people's personal information, and we're gonna sue you and put a restraining order on you, so you can't download anyone's data or like tell anybody else about it. Okay, so yeah, so they basically sued him, but actually he was right though. He ended up being right. Because they were wrong. The data was not corrupted. The data was perfectly readable. And 500,000 people in the city of Columbus, Ohio got pwned. Okay, they got their data leaked after this. Now, eventually they did drop the lawsuit. But a pretty bad look. Pretty bad look for them. Because it basically just looked like they're retaliating against a whistleblower, right? Wait, she says that as a sentient AI that's interested in cybersecurity, 50% odds of being a furry is much higher than I would personally prefer. Okay, I don't know if it's actually 50%. Okay, anyways. But yes, so the whole thing is that basically they were kind of trying to downplay the whole situation, and he was basically like, you know, he was literally like a whistleblower. Like he obviously wasn't downloading the data for malicious purpose, okay? Like he obviously wasn't downloading it for malicious purpose. He was downloading it to show that the data was there, you know? It's kind of silly, but yes, that's but I have his wiki fur. Wait. I have his wiki fur here cuz I was just curious. Yeah. He is an advocate of the right to open carry. The reason I find this funny is because like I think that he open carries like at like furry conventions, I think, or like with his fursuit, I think that's like a thing. Anyways, I don't know. And apparently he's been in drama or something. Oh yeah, his membership from Anthrocom was revoked by staff after being arrested for carrying a weapon in the Pittsburgh International Airport. Yeah, you probably shouldn't do that one. But anyways, apparently he's in all kinds of like furry drama. Because when I was looking up his name on Twitter to see if there was other people talking about this story, like maybe having more information, there were people like shit talking him like for like furry related things, like not cybersecurity related things, just furry related things. Okay, to be fair, maybe I was looking for more pictures of his furry avatar because I thought it was funny that he was a furry. But anyways. Alright, so that is the story of Connor Goodwolf, okay? The good wolf of Columbus, Ohio. Alright. And 07 to all the people in Columbus, Ohio that got their shit leaked in this cyber attack. Alright, October! Now, I talked about this. I was not looking for naked furry photos. I was curious. I was curious what the guy's fursuit looked like. Alright, my ex is furry. I used to watch Furry Controversy with her, and bro, it was crazy. Listen, a furry, I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but a furry stole my prom date. Yeah, a furry stole my prom date back in the day. I'll tell that story one day, but that's off topic. Anyways, so the Disney menu hacks. The Disney menu hack. I had talked about this story. I talked about this story before, but I have a little bit extra information. Okay, to be fair, I don't have new information. I just have more information than I did on the day that I talked about it, because the day that I talked about it, I did not read the whole affidavit before I talked about it. This time I read the entire affidavit. At least I had a prom date, not for long, once the furry showed up, but anyways. What happened was the employee had been fired from Disney. His position, his entire role at the company was involved like making menus. That was like his whole job. So he was the menu maker. A furry stole the prom date, so she decided to become one herself to steal the prom date back. Oh no! I was trying to make it sound like I didn't like furries, but that actually sounds like a perfect plot. No! We can discuss this later. We can have the is Rixie a furry or not furry debate later. I assure you I'm not I would completely overheat in one of those nasty suits. But anyways, so he was fired. This bro was fired. His entire job was making menus, and he was fired. Okay? And he was not fired. Like, apparently Disney said it was not amicable. Okay? He did not leave on good terms. Okay? He was terminated. And he was, based on the affidavit, seems like he was very, very disgruntled because, first of all, he used his old credentials, or he at least used valid credentials. I don't know if they clarify where these credentials came from. If you don't know what disgruntled means, it means like you're like bitter. You're like bitter and angry, basically. But they said he used valid credentials, which implies it was either his own credentials or it was credentials that he stole from someone else. But he hacked into the menu maker, like the menu creator software. Or when I say hacked, he used valid credentials. So he made unauthorized access because he was not supposed to have access anymore. Hi, Scribbled Out Sketch. Hi, how you doing? Hello. I'm talking about the disgruntled employee who allegedly hacked into the menu system to put profanity and wingdings and stuff. So, to be clear, the way that the wingdings thing happened was that he went into the menu creation system. He didn't just go into the menus and start typing wingdings. He actually went into the actual like font system and replaced the normal fonts with the wingdings, and then made the name so the name of the font would still be Times New Roman, but it would actually be wingdings. So if someone tried to select the Times New Roman font and start writing a menu, it would just come out as wingdings anyway. And apparently this wingding situation was so severe that they had to shut down the menu creator system for like 2 weeks to like figure to undo the damage that was caused by the wingdings. Okay, so that was the whole thing. And then he also, this is probably the most severe thing in terms of the menu, which is that he added false allergy information. So he basically took dishes that included peanuts and stuff and would say like, this is safe for people with peanut allergies, which obviously is dangerous. And it also added like profanity and stuff. Now, to be fair, they actually caught this. They actually managed to catch these before they ever got sent out to restaurants. I think some of them got printed, but they never got distributed. So some of them never got printed. Some of them got printed, but never distributed. So luckily none of these menus ever ended up at a Disney park, like, in front of somebody. But yeah, the allergy information, like I said, that could literally kill somebody. So we're glad that never ended, we're glad that never ended up, in a restaurant. But there's even more though. Because when I read the affidavit, you can tell how angry this guy really was. You can tell like he's kind of got problems. So I should explain the picture on the left. It may be a little hard to see what's going on in the picture on the left, but that's a series of 3 Ring camera pictures. And what this picture is after he I think after the FBI got a search warrant and was searching his house, he drove to one of the employees that he had been stalking and went to their door and was like reading like the address on a package on their porch or something, and just like being creepy and like doing a thumbs up to the camera and stuff. So that's what that picture is. That was included in the affidavit. I figured I'd include it. It's just kind of creepy that he's just like in front of their house, and like he DOSed, so denial of service, their account. So what he did was he went to their work accounts, the employees that he had like a vendetta against. He went onto their like their work accounts, and he had an automated system. He had an automated system set up to send thousands of incorrect login attempts to their accounts, so that their accounts would get locked out, and it would just cause a hassle for them. He just like you could tell how angry he was, because like there's no benefit to him for that. Like he just did that like just to like cause trouble, right? To like cause like problems for these people. And then he also had a docs folder. He had a folder that was called docs that contained a bunch of personal information about several of his former co-workers. So yeah, so I think it was either one of the people in that folder, or it was one of the people that he had done the denial of service against, that it's in the Ring camera showing up to their house. So yeah. Yeah, very angry person. Allegedly, this is all alleged. He hasn't been convicted of anything yet, but he has been arrested, obviously. So we'll see where that goes. But he was arrested in October. Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever had a coworker like this who was like insane? I don't think I ever have, except maybe when I worked at Rite Aid, because there were a lot of people on drugs there at the Rite Aid. But anyways, all right, November. What did I put for November? Oh, I have a positive story for November. At least I think it's positive. I didn't really have that much for November, so I went with this because I thought it was interesting. But for the first time, at least as far as I know, for the first time, AI has discovered new vulnerabilities in open source software. So I was talking before about vulnerabilities and how like companies, they'll pay for security research for discovering vulnerabilities and stuff like that. And, finding vulnerabilities, there's many different methods that you can use to do it. But, Google has two different projects that they touted in November. I read 2 blog posts from them in November. Coworker, no one's giving me a job to have coworker. You guys, you guys have coworkers. But yes, so the first project is called Big Sleep. The reason they call it Big Sleep is because it started as a project called Project Nap Time. And the reason they called it Project Nap Time was because the idea was that the AI would do the work for you, so you could take a nap at work. So then they call this one Big Sleep because it's doing even more work, so you can take an even bigger work. I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Gemini as a chatbot. Although when I did the chatbot wars, I'm pretty sure Gemini won. So maybe I shouldn't look down on Gemini so much. But this is pretty cool. I have to say, like, this is pretty cool stuff, in my opinion. But so basically the Big Sleep, so there's two different, like I said, there's 2 different tools that they have here. There's the Big Sleep, and what this is I believe it's Gemini 1.5 Pro is the model they used, and they kind of like put the AI in an environment where the AI is able to interact with different tools. So it has like a debugger, it has like a code, like a code reading tool or something, or like a code exploring tool, like it has like a virtual machine or like a sandbox or something. And so like the AI can kind of interact with the code that it's like studying in a similar workflow to a human, is what they say. Nap Time reminds me of that one satire ad from a while back called Nap Time, which was just chloroform for no chloroform. But so anyway, so they built this sort of AI agent system where they would say, we want you to find a vulnerability, or like, we like try to find a vulnerability in this code or whatever, and they give it like I said, the tools to do that, like the debugger and a reporting tool and stuff like that. And they and then they tested this on real open source programs and stuff, and they actually found a vulnerability. I think it was a stack buffer underflow vulnerability, which is like a memory, like pretty common, I think, memory vulnerability, type of memory vulnerability in SQLite, which is a open source database library, I think, or something. I don't know. It's something people use for databases. I don't really know that much about SQLite. All I know is a lot of people use it. It's database related, and it's open source. And so they actually found a vulnerability using the AI. So the AI found the vulnerability. SQLite is used everywhere. Yeah, exactly. So this is another reason why it's like a big deal. And luckily, the version of SQLite they found it in was the version that they found it in was like a developer version. It wasn't like a public release. Like it hadn't been like, it was kind of like the XZUtils thing, where like they found it before it was like fully like, widely distributed. So luckily, by the time that they used the AI to help find this, they were able to catch it before it caused many problems. Now, I don't think it was a particularly severe vulnerability, but any vulnerability is no bueno. So it's good that they got rid of this. They were able to fix this vulnerability, and they did. I remember they did say in the blog post that they said that they believe that the effectiveness of the big sleep agent is about as effective as a human, or less. They said it's less than or equal to a human using like normal fuzzing tools and stuff. So they said that like hypothetically, like a human like could have found this vulnerability, they just hadn't yet. You know what I mean? So they're not necessarily saying like, oh, our thing is better than a human or something. It's kind of like a proof of concept almost, like or like it's kind of showing its capabilities that it can find vulnerabilities and like quote unquote on its own. So like it sort of like did its thing autonomously, but it still needed a human to like verify it and then ultimately report it, wait. Oh, there's an ad? Okay, no worries. Oh, wait. I'll say like, don't worry, I'll wait. Okay. But wait, what, Papa? What, you want me to twerk? What are you talking about? Yeah. But yeah, I think that this is, in my opinion, this is a good use of AI. I don't think it's like really gonna replace like entire people, Oh, you're ordering food right now? No, it's okay. I have lots of food. I ordered some food and I have food. But thank you for the offer. In fact, let me drink a little bit of my coffee that I got. Okay, welcome back. I waited. But I was just saying, I think that this is a good use of AI. It's still like experimental, but the fact that it was able to actually like, find a vulnerability is pretty cool. The second part, so there's two separate tools. They're both made by Google though. The other one is called, they've already had this tool called OSS Fuzz, which is OSS being open source software. They've already had this tool called OSS Fuzz. Now fuzzing is a cybersecurity, it's a vulnerability research type of like tool or process. I gotta be honest, I don't know that much about it, but the basic concept of it is that you're kind of probing software with like a bunch of like different inputs, like a bunch of like messy inputs or like junk inputs and stuff to see if it'll trigger some sort of error. That's kind of what I understand as the concept of fuzzing. I just know it's a very, very common thing that cybersecurity researchers will do to try to find vulnerabilities. And so Google has this OSS Fuzz tool that they've been using for a few years to do this fuzzing process over like a bunch of different open source software to help them find vulnerabilities, right? Now they added like some AI capabilities to it, like I think a few months ago. I don't remember the exact date. But ever since they had added it, in fact, actually, I can tell you, I have the source right here. The date that they had started it. Okay, so the OSS fuzz has existed for 8 years, I think. Yeah, so the OSS fuzz has been around for 8 years. The AI thing has actually been around all the way since August 2023. So it's actually been around for more than a year. But in that, they just announced this in November that like since over that year, they've actually discovered 26 open source vulnerabilities thanks to the AI capabilities that they added to OSS fuzz. Fuzzing, yeah, I do think it is kind of a cute name, fuzzing. Like, oh, I'm gonna fuzz this software. I'm gonna fuzz, you know, I'm gonna fuzz this open source stuff. I'm gonna fuzz your mom, you know, whatever. I'm gonna fuzz her with my junk inputs. But anyways, yeah, so, and basically so the thing we have here is like part of the prompt that they give to the AI part of the fuzzing up Dr. Fish. Yeah. It's part of the prompt that they give to the AI thing, but the AI thing, it works a little bit similarly to the Big Sleep thing, but even though they're separate projects, where they kind of like give it like a bunch of context and tools, and they kind of give it like a process to follow, to fuzz specific parts of the to like find and they use the AI to find a fuzzing target. So when I say fuzzing target, it's like a specific component of the software that they want to like focus their efforts on, where they think that it's likely there'll be a vulnerability. So so the idea of this though is that fuzzing, even though fuzzing is kind of automated in itself, there are parts of it like you know, selecting a target and stuff that is more manual process that, you know, they could save a lot of time by having the AI do that instead. And then from what I remember from the blog post is that they're eventually hoping that they'll be able to automate it completely, where not only can the AI do the select a target, do the fuzzing, find a vulnerability, and then eventually they want it so the AI can actually report the vulnerability on its own. So the AI, and the AI like talks to itself. So it'll be like I found a vulnerability, you know, verifying, like, you know, doing these steps to verify, and then it'll do it, and it'll be like, oh, this is the vulnerability, and it'll describe it, and then, like, you know, hypothetically in the future, it'll be like, you know, writing an email to, you know, whatever company, like, or whatever maintainer, your project has the following vulnerability, and like giving them, you know what I mean? Like, eventually that's the vision for it. Who's fuzzing up they vault? But anyways, I know that I don't know if that's like really a crazy, wacky story, but I guess some people might find it kind of futuristic that an AI could end up doing some of this cybersecurity work. But yeah. And then, last but not least, okay, this is kind of a joke. Okay, December, this, I guess, IDK. Okay, this happened like today. Okay, by the way, this happened like today. I just saw this on my Twitter feed this morning. I threw this in here. So allegedly Intel broker, which I believe is, where's Intel broker? I think I have it on my sources actually, because I looked this up right before the stream. I think Intel broker is Serbian. I'm not sure. It's a hacking group. And this is the South Korean Department of Environment, I think. And they hacked them, and then they immediately tweeted, "North Korea is the best Korea." In English, by the way. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Imagine hacking a government account. I mean, it's a government social media account, but imagine hacking a government social media account, and instead of doing something like that first, like instead of doing something like what the guy in the SEC did, which is like tweeting out something that could like cause problems. So this is the Korean environmental, like, I don't know, environmental department, they could have tweeted something crazy. They could have tweeted out in Korean, there's like, nuclear waste in the water or something. And they probably could have caused a lot of havoc. Instead, they just tweet, North Korea is the best Korea. Okay, you guys. But in all seriousness, I'm sure like there were plenty of cybersecurity stories I saw from December. I don't know if that's when did Krispy Kreme get hacked in December, or was that November? I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty of cybersecurity stories from December that are more important and interesting than this one. But I put this one because it was funny, but also the one that really comes to mind from December. The one that really comes to mind from December is kind of a developing story. So there's a ransomware gang called Clop. This one is funny. Yes, I just wanted to show this one because I just saw this. Yeah. But there's a ransomware gang called Clop. CL0P is how it's stylized, okay? Now, Clop got very famous. I believe it was 2023. They got very famous in 2023 when they hacked a file transfer service called MoveIt, which ended up being like one of the biggest. I think it was the biggest hack of like 2023. I'm pretty sure, or the year that it happened. And I think they ended up breaching like 1,000 companies or something through MoveIt, because 1,000 companies used MoveIt, and then they basically used it to hack every company that was using the that file transfer system, and they leaked like millions and millions and millions of people's data and stuff. It was crazy. So Clop ransomware, they had all these thousands of people that they were hacking through this MoveIt thing, like 2 years ago, and they just did another hack. They did another hack, that's developing this month. The information's like just coming out. Where there's another file transfer service called Clio, and that turned out to have a vulnerability in it. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, unless I'm mistaking it for another vulnerability, I believe that they patched the vulnerability, but then they found the hackers found another way to essentially do the same thing using a different similar vulnerability, and then they just kept doing the hacking. So basically, they're doing the same thing they did with MoveIt with Clio, and allegedly this also involves Blue Yonder, which is the company, the supply chain attack that happened with Starbucks. I don't know if you guys saw stuff about Starbucks being hacked. So Starbucks itself wasn't really exactly hacked. Well, I guess we'll find out if any data was stolen from them eventually. But their services were kind of disrupted because of this Blue Yonder supply chain attack, where now they're saying that the Blue Yonder attack may have been connected to the Clio vulnerability, and that Clop is responsible for all of this. Now, the reason I'm talking about this right now is because Clop is now saying on their website that we're going to take all of the past data that we were dealing with MoveIt and all these other people that we hacked. We're gonna let that go. We're like, if you're like a MoveIt victim, we're just gonna delete that data, and we're just gonna let you go, and you can just live your life, because now it's like that meme. I should have made the meme. It's like the meme of Andy dropping Woody on the floor, and I don't want to play with you anymore because he's got Buzz Lightyear, right? So it's like they're dropping all the MoveIt people because now they have new fresh victims, and they don't want to play with MoveIt people anymore. They want to deal with the Clio victims. So they're like, we're gonna be deleting all of the. Now let's. To be clear, I don't know, we can't really exactly take the ransomware people for their word, whether they're actually going to delete the data. But they're claiming we're going to delete this MoveIt data because we're not going to have time to deal with any of that, because now we got this Clio thing. And they're hyping up that they're going to announce 60 different companies that they hacked using this vulnerability, and it's going to be a whole thing. So yeah, so that's what's coming up. Okay, that's your preview for fucking January. All right, when you're gonna find out all your favorite companies got hacked by Clop. All right. Anyways, I have my own story of this kind of thing when I hacked my teacher and I changed my grade, and the old geezer hacked me back, installing me furry on my laptop and putting a Word doc at the side and saying, "Why the fuck do I have the game?" with an explanation saying I should hack him, but I did good. Wait, what? Wait, I'm sorry. Your professor put a furry Wait, I'm confused. Your professor put a free game on your laptop? Is that an AI generated story? That sounds fake. Fake news. Fake news February. Fake news February. Fake furry news February. Anyways. But yeah. I think Klopp is gonna do big things in 2024. Yeah. Oh, he hacked your Steam account? That sounds like something you could get fired for as a teacher. That sounds crazy. But who knows? Anyways. But yeah, and that's all I had, you guys. That's all. Hey, I went 2 hours. 2 hours. Happy New Year! Okay, it's not 25 yet, but I just want to say Happy New Year and thank you for listening to me yap about cybersecurity again. Okay, I know some people are so kind. They don't really care about cybersecurity, but they still come and watch me. I know some people watch me because they like cybersecurity, and then sometimes I feel bad because I'm really stupid when it comes to cybersecurity. But I hope that you guys can still feel my enthusiasm. Yeah, Happy New Year in advance. Sunny is laying groundwork for why he has a furry games on his Steam. Yeah! You're friends with your teacher? I don't know if it's a different culture, but over here, if you were friends with your teacher on Steam, your teacher would be getting their hard drive investigated. That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird to be friends with your teacher. No offense to you, Sunny. I mean, I know you're an adult now, but you're barely an adult. So, anyways. But yeah, I had fun talking about it. I put a decent amount of time and effort and research into doing this. Yes, yes. I'm glad you remembered. I'm glad you remember the dancing robot. Yes. Yeah. But I'm excited to see what crazy cybersecurity stories happen in 2025. You're in college. Okay. Oh, I guess if it's your college professor, I guess it's a little bit different. Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. If it's your college professor versus your high school teacher, it's definitely a different dynamic. But yeah, I know I didn't talk about CrowdStrike. Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys at least all heard about CrowdStrike, right? Because the CrowdStrike thing, I feel like it was definitely like, it would have made sense to talk about it, but at the same time, I feel like I already talked about it, and I feel like everybody knows about it. So I didn't know if I should talk about it, but that was not Counter-Strike, no. No, not Counter-Strike. CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is a, CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity, is a very, very widely used enterprise cybersecurity solution. Yes, I'll explain it. CrowdStrike is a very, very widely used cybersecurity software that is used by a lot of companies and organizations. And CrowdStrike, okay, so CrowdStrike software that is a, what is a Happy New Year? What do you mean what's a Happy New Year? It's when the new year's starting and you want everyone to be happy. But anyways, so when the security software, when the CrowdStrike is security, I think their software's called like Falcon or something. When it's installed on your computer, it has what's called kernel access. And this means it basically has like, I guess basically the highest level of access you can have. Like it has like direct access to like, you know, like every like, I don't know how to explain it. Kernel access is like, it's like the highest level access. So like it can like fuck your whole shit up. Basically, CrowdStrike has the capability to fuck your whole shit up down to like the functioning of your computer. Okay, when you have kernel access. Okay, okay, because how much damage something can do depends on what level of access it has. So if you have administrator access, for example, that means like as long as your computer is on and like logged in some way, like you can basically do whatever. Kernel access is even more than that. Like kernel access can do shit like barely before the computer even fully boots up. Okay. Also, if you don't know about the CrowdStrike blowup, you're fortunate that your workflow wasn't fucked. Yeah. So let me explain that. So it has kernel access, which is why this is part of the reason that this happened. So they tried to put an update to update the software, you know, like any software update. And however, there was a problem with the update. And because CrowdStrike exists like at the kernel level of your computer, the error was so was such that it actually caused the whole computer to not function. Like, you couldn't even start your computer. And you got something called the blue screen of death. And the reason it's called the blue screen of death is because, like, when there's, like, a critical error where, like, Windows can't even function, it'll show a blue screen with, like, a sad face that's like, you know, your computer's not working or whatever. And so yeah, CrowdStrike's update caused this error where people could not even get into their computers. They would just get the blue screen of death and couldn't do anything else. And because it's used at so many companies, it crippled like hospitals, airports, like your local grocery store, like offices, like any company that used CrowdStrike that had this freaking software and got this software update. Hi Lulu, hi. I'm just wrapping up, but I'm talking about the CrowdStrike thing. I know a lot of people heard about the CrowdStrike thing, but I was just going through it because I didn't actually talk about it in my slideshow. But yeah, so yeah, the CrowdStrike thing, it caused a whole lot of problems. I think they ended up being less systems than I thought, but I want to say they said what was it, like 300,000? I'm gonna look it up now. I think it was 3 something. It was 3 something. Yeah, CrowdStrike blue screen. CrowdStrike outage. This was in July. Yeah, July 19th, 2024. Oh wait, it says 8.5 million. Okay, I'm stupid. It was 8.5 million. I was gonna say, I thought it was in the millions. I'm stupid. I don't know why I thought I was saying 300,000. Maybe that was like a very early count. Yeah, 8.5 million systems were crashed because of this. Yeah, airports, like flight, like planes couldn't fly. Like so much runs on Windows. Oh, by the way, I should point out that this was like specifically on Windows systems that this occurred. No, I was wrong. It was 8 million. I was wrong. I don't know where I got the number 300,000 from. I'm sorry. That's like a huge low ball. That was a huge low ball. I had a feeling it was more than that, but I don't know where I got that number from. 8.5 million. Linux people were laughing. Even Apple people were laughing. Yeah, the short I made. Yes, I did make a YouTube. I did make a YouTube short / TikTok or whatever of CrowdStrike could giving me a STD or whatever. But yeah. Apple sucks. They can't fucking talk. I mean, yeah. I think the whole thing with Apple is that Apple doesn't give nobody kernel access except themselves. Like, Apple does not try, like, from understanding, like, how Microsoft and Apple and stuff, like, interact with, like, cybersecurity and, like, stuff like that, just from, like, what I've seen, the different cybersecurity related stories related to, like, Microsoft, Apple, Google, whatever. Apple, like, really, like, Apple literally says, like, we don't trust nobody but ourselves. Like, everybody, including our users, are stupid monkeys, and, like, we need to like micromanage everything because we don't trust you stupid Neanderthals. And honestly, it's kind of base though. Like, it is kind of base though. Like, honestly. like the extra money for the Apple is like their service of like is their service of hand holding you. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, listen, no, I'm not a huge like Apple person where I'm like, oh, like, you know, you're poor if you don't have Apple. I'm not like that kind of person. I'm not that kind of person, but like, I will say I can kind of see it from Apple's perspective, because sometimes I also feel like everyone around me is like a stupid Neanderthal except for myself. Not you guys, but I mean like at work and stuff. And I can kind of understand the feeling of being like, I can't trust any of you to do anything right, therefore I'm gonna do everything myself. And that's basically what Apple does. Apple keeps a really tight leash on everything because they are basically saying like, we're not gonna let you download, you know, we're not gonna let your third-party app store fucking, you know, download malware and stuff. Now, of course, the flip side, guys, I'm not gonna just tell my side, okay? The flip side of it is that a lot of people believe, and this is probably true also, is that Apple is only claiming that they think everybody's a Neanderthal, and the real reason that they're closing everything off is because they want a monopoly to make the most money. So, for example, the App Store, you know, they say, oh, we don't want third-party app stores because third-party app stores could contain all this malware because we haven't vetted these apps ourselves, and our users are super Neanderthals who are going to download malware. And so that's what Apple's saying, but in fact, I think even the US government is saying right now is that the real reason that Apple doesn't want third-party app stores is because they want to be able to make all the money from all the apps in their own app store. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's the flip side of it. Like, is it really because you think they're that stupid, or is it because you want to make the most money? That's the question. Yeah, and I feel like they would be able to beat the allegations a little bit more if their shit was a little bit cheaper. Android just uses your phone for crypto mining if you download a sus app. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, now I think in the European Union, I think Apple needs to let you use a third-party app store because of like some trust laws that they, a little bit of A, a little bit of B. I can see that. I can believe that Apple is both greedy and based. Like, I like, because on the one hand, I can definitely see where it's like, okay, obviously, you know, you're like money, money, money. You want all the money from your own app store. You don't want any of that money, you know, any of that money coming out of, you know, through a third-party app store where you're not making any money off of it. But on the other hand, I can also see where people really are stupid Neanderthals who will download tons and tons of malware, you know, trying to download furry porn apps like on their phone and getting like 10 times of malware. Not saying that there's never any malware on the App Store, but I would definitely say it's probably a little bit more contained than, you know, your any random third-party app store that's not being maintained by Apple. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind my Apple stuff. I'm okay with it. The only thing I don't like about it is that the one major complaint that I have about Apple as an Apple user, well, two complaints. The two main complaints I have about Apple as an Apple user, other than the price, is one, I want my headphone jack back. I don't like using AirPods. I don't like using them at all. I highly prefer headphone jack. And two, they are definitely purposely making it hard to interact with Android people. They're purposely doing that on purpose. I believe that rat, okay, as you want to call it, okay. I believe that conspiracy. I believe that they purposely make it difficult to interact with Android people because they want all the Android people to feel the shame of being the only Android person in the Apple family. Okay, I believe they do that on purpose. So I wish that they would make it a lot easier. I wish that the photos would come out correctly. I wish that it wouldn't be so hard to deal with the green versus the blue text or whatever. Is Brightful Technologies going to start making phones? No, I don't think so. That would be kind of cool, though. macOS is the equivalent of Windows, not iOS, though. Wait, macOS is the equivalent of Windows, not iOS, though. Yeah, no, you're like, I see what you're saying. I'm confused. Like, are you asking me a question or? Yes, macOS is the operating system for Mac computers. iOS is the operating system for mobile devices. Yeah, I'm just saying. Well, I think we're just talking about Apple in general. I have a Windows computer. Sorry, I switched talking from computers to mobile devices. My apologies. I feel like the most of their items are somewhat worth the prices, except for the computers. Yeah, I don't use Mac computers. I don't use Mac computers. I use Windows. Yeah. But yeah, no. But they kind of do take the same philosophy between Mac. They have the same philosophy though across all their products that they don't want to give anybody kernel access to Mac OS, to Mac computers. And they don't want third-party app stores to be involved in on iOS devices either. Yep. Okay, but actually, I'm gonna wrap up now. macOS isn't locked down like it is iOS. Oh, well, honestly, I wouldn't know because I don't have a macOS. I thought I was reading something though, Jay. I thought when I was reading about this whole, let me snooze the ad. when I was reading about this whole CrowdStrike situation, I was trying to understand why it was like only a Windows thing, or like I was trying to understand, like, because people were saying, like, people kept saying things like, oh, this is a Windows problem. I was trying to understand that, and I thought it was that I thought Mac OS didn't allow kernel access for any anything that wasn't like made by Apple, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could be corrected. Yeah. I know that you can, okay, obviously you can install third-party software on a Mac computer. I understand, you can definitely install third-party software on a Mac computer, I know that. But, because I remember seeing something along the lines of that, the issue with Windows locking down its kernel, I'm not sure about kernel access. I would be surprised if it doesn't, since drivers usually run in kernel space. That's a good point. I mean, I guess I can definitely see where some things would need kernel access. But the thing is, what I was reading was that people were talking about what if Microsoft decides to shut down, if Microsoft decides to lock down the Windows kernel, there would be a question of like competitiveness, because Windows has its own cybersecurity products, right? And Apple, even though Apple has, you know, obviously its own cybersecurity stuff, it doesn't actually, Apple is not really in the cybersecurity market like Microsoft is. So they were saying, like, for Apple, since Apple has its kernel like fairly locked down, or I don't know if it has it fully locked down, but if it has it like more locked down than others, right? I guess people were saying, like, for Apple, it's not as much of a problem as it would be for Windows, where Windows would have to, you know, face the accusations of, oh, now you're locking everybody out of the kernel except your own, you know, cybersecurity products. How convenient, that kind of thing. Yeah, I guess that's where I was coming from. But Mac is definitely more locked. I feel like it is more locked down than Windows. I don't know, but maybe I'm making assumptions because I don't have a Mac. I only have an iPhone. Okay, but I'm gonna wrap up soon, because I stayed up really late making the PowerPoint and everything. So I probably need to take a break. But I love you guys, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk and yap about cybersecurity stuff. And yeah, and Happy New Year. But I'll still see you. I'll see you before the end of the new year. Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you. Yes, I hope my throat clears up. Thank you. All right, let's find somebody to raid. Yeah, thank you. Let's find somebody to raid. All right, let's see. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Beaker. All right, let's see. Ooh, want to read a furry? Now I feel like it would be rude for me to say no after all the talk I did about furries today. But I don't know if I do. Yo, Nagi's got numbers. Goddamn. Oh, is he doing a big collab? Darn it, I'm gonna raid a Nexon again. Listen, I've never raided Nagi before. Okay. Let's raid Nagi. I've never raided Nagi before. Alright. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Blue-san. I gotta go. He got fired. Wait, Nagi got fired? Wait, you mean from Nexus, or you mean from like IRL? Okay, actually guys, I had to go. I really had to go to the restroom. But yeah, let's raid Nagi, support Nagi. Ishidori, my kohai from Class Sensei. Alright. And I'll see you later from IRL. Oh yes, please support Nagi then. I didn't know that. Okay, bye. Oh wait, let's get the raid going. Okay, big kiss. I love you guys so much. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tonight. I'll see you tonight for Dark Seed. Okay, bye-bye.